mind the way.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Right, so I think to go about how to get work experience was probably to start big, go ambitious and see where it gets you. So me and Bart, we went to Portsmouth to start knocking on doors because email and all the other stuff doesn't really get you anywhere. You don't get replies and people are just way too busy. So we went to Portsmouth and we went to a couple companies in there like Starfish and there's another one that we didn't even get into, but luckily enough we did get into Love Dust. They didn't exactly really want us to let us in there, but with nagging and asking for at least 5 minutes, we at least went into the studio. We've seen the studio, it's really cool. They do some really good work like illustrations. They actually work for like companies like Nike and Cola and Mars, like really big companies. And we had a portfolio with us and a printed CV and a business card to leave. We had 5 minutes to speak to one of the senior designers. We spoke to him, we looked at some of our work, did really appreciate it, and he said he'll email us back about the what's going to happen. And although we got an email saying that they don't take people from like second years of uni, they only take people that are finished and kind of got a degree and they can start then. So although we didn't get we didn't get any work there, but we got some really good feedback about the work. Made a contact with someone from Love Dust, which was quite amazing really, for just 1 day of just knocking on doors, and kind of gave you quite a lot of belief that we could actually get somewhere with it. Pros and cons, so it's obviously a huge company. Like to get a week of experience there, even making teas or just like shadowing them about, that would have been just to even put in your CV to say that you did there, that would be amazing. So it's a huge company, got a big design team. It's a big studio with like motorbikes hanging on walls and different prints, so it was just really cool. Obviously, we only spoke to one person, but still made a contact. But obviously, if we met new people, there would have been more contacts. They looked at our portfolio and gave us some feedback, so he really liked the work we did, but he said to maybe do it a little bit more and just keep putting it online and promoting ourselves in that way. And then if we didn't get a chance to work there, that would have been maybe a chance of a job, but we didn't. The only bad things about there was quite far away. There's nowhere really to park. The size of the company meant that even if we did get to work there wouldn't be much help, so it would be kind of making tea, looking at what they do, because it's so busy, projects after projects. And it's really hard to get into. They don't normally reply to anything. The only way was to actually go in and knock on their door, and not everyone does that. And they do, although they do some really cool stuff and really famous brands, they do a lot of illustration, which is kind of not really my thing, but just get to their company would be sick. So from there we went to Chichester, so local company. So this is just a couple of big companies that we went to. So Lion Creative, Bars World, Profile Design. So they're all like digital companies around Chai. So we went from Portsmouth, kind of starting big, to kind of going local, approaching every single company. These are just a couple of examples that we went to. Unfortunately, some of them didn't even open the doors, and the ones that did open the doors said that it was health and safety, like making any sort of excuse not to let you in, and they don't want to even look at your portfolio. But the best way was to go and actually speak to them rather than email them and not knowing the reply. At least I knew that we got rejected and there was no point carrying on with that. So then it was back to contacts, and one of the contacts I made from going to Emsworth meetup was Scott, and he has his own company called Number One Son. The company is based in Emsworth, and he is obviously the main director of the company, and they based on web, they do branding, they do logo, they do interface, apps, kind of bringing up the brand and designing all the all graphics. So so I went to quite pros and cons. So it's in Emsworth, so like I was already in contact with him, so it wasn't really hard to kind of get, like it wasn't awkward and stuff there, so I kind of spoke to him, and then from there to there, so it was already contact with him, so it was already a contact. It's not too far to travel, so it was only like a 20-minute drive, which is not far. He actually made some time for me for like a whole week, so it was like, because it's not a big company, so I had more one-to-one help, so like every 2 hours he would come up to me and say like, have a little review how the work is going. It's a proper studio, so it's a really cool studio. Like it's pretty big. There's 5 people in there. It's got a cool view up to the river. They've got some like loads of graphics printed bikes. It kind of like felt like a proper design studio rather than sitting somewhere in the office or doing stuff at home. Professional help. So obviously he's a designer. He makes money off this. So any feedback that he told me, it was obviously much better than hearing from someone who's not in the industry. I actually had my own little desk, my own little setup, so it was good to have my little work space where I could like draw and have my little laptop, and like the view of the studio was amazing. So sitting there for like 5 hours staring at the screen, and then I get a half an hour lunch, so I could just sit by the lake and have a little walk around, get the inspiration, was helpful. So obviously not all the work that he does is kind of my street, but it's good to learn new things. Although it's a proper like design studio and stuff, he kind of most of the time works by himself. He just brings people in where he needs help. So I didn't exactly get to like sit in a proper design team when it was like a meetings in the morning and stuff. Obviously I didn't get paid for it, and it was only a week because he was really busy, so it was hard to squeeze a week out, but that's kind of all I had. Like I said, travelling, it wasn't far away. I live in Bognor, I was in Emsworth, so it was only like a 20-minute drive, so it was pretty local, but it doesn't really matter where it was. It was the best option that I ever had, so I didn't care if it was in London to go there. It was for a whole week, so I did 9 till half 5 every day. And in terms of portfolio, he, because I had him as a contact, he already seen my work, but when I was in contact with him, I did send him a link to my online portfolio, and he's already been to some of our exhibitions, so he kind of knows what I do. So I didn't have to really sell myself because he's already seen what happens. So how did this come about? Went to Portsmouth to meet up where all designers meet. Like I said, already met him before, so I emailed him before this meeting and he didn't really reply to me, so I kind of thought maybe leave it, but I saw him there and I asked him about replying to me, and he kind of said I was really busy, but I didn't want him to reply to you. So I spoke to him there, I asked him about if he could make some time for me, and he kind of said that I need to email and follow up, so we kind of like spoke about what's going to happen there, like face to face, which is the best way I think. So you will find out whether he actually wants you or not. And then a couple of days later, I followed up with an email because he wanted me to remind him about the dates, and I sent him my like portfolio, my latest project, the website I did, and my CV for him to have a look, just to just freshen up, to see what I do. And so what I had to do was, because he kind of like in an email, he asked me what I wanted to do. It wasn't like, because he said it's quite busy and me just sitting behind him looking at him like doing emails and boring stuff. It's not exactly what he wanted me to do. He actually wanted me to get something out of this, not just like stare at the screen for like 9 to 5. So we kind of I messaged him, like he asked me what I wanted to do, so I kind of said, well, I'm quite interested to learn how to design the logo, like how you do it, maybe do like a poster, with some typography involved in there, and he came up, because he runs a Emsworth meetup, so he came up with an idea for me to redesign their logo. He also had a meeting in there where I kind of came in to just like sit down and see what like how it kind of discusses and stuff, and obviously to do typography poster, which he said would get printed and stuff like that, which would be pretty cool, but that kind of never happened. Work proposal, so was kind of like I said, he works by himself, and obviously his wife is part of the company as well. But I've emailed him to ask him who he brings in on board when he needs people. So he's kind of the main person there. And obviously when he works in different projects, because he has so many contacts, he brings people in. So if he's working on a web project, he'll bring a coder in, and they work together to bring something in. And obviously that's his reply, and this is the people that like he brings in on board when he needs to some help with some of the projects. But there was another person working in his office called Andrew, and he's a graphic designer as well, and I obviously saw him like always exchanging ideas and helping each other out because they're so that's that. And just to some of the like tips that I kind of learned, always have a backup plan. Like it doesn't matter what you apply for, but I think I went big, but I always had a couple ideas where I'm going to go to. So even if you have one job, like if you have something that is certain, I don't think you have to settle down for it, because like you never know, you might find something bigger. And so I would say, even if you have something, just go and look for something else because you've got time. And like I said, start big. Like it doesn't matter if you get rejected, but you never know, you might get into something like just to get you some inspiration. I'll say probably stay local, because obviously travelling does cost money. There's loads of traffic in the morning, so unless you want to be getting up really early, so somewhere around here would be perfect. But probably one of the main tips would probably be to keep nagging. If you want to get work experience, emailing and all that crap doesn't really work, because they hardly check their email because they're so busy all the time. So I think the best way is to get a portfolio, get a CV, get a business card, find out where they work, and go and knock on the door. And when you speak to person like face to face, you actually get the reply, and you actually get an idea whether they even want you there or not. Because email just becomes boring and nobody wants it. And I think to leave it on, whatever you do, don't be ill.
Cool. Any questions?
It was really good though.
We like your presentation. It was good.
It was very good.
It was really good.
Despite doing it yesterday.
Still really good.
Now, you know, the kind of graphics and things that you employ do help getting better at that. You obviously have a slight advantage in you have got a good personal relationship with him now. Do you know what I mean? So now, you know, he can answer these kind of questions. It would have been nice for you when you did introduce like all these different people to say, you know, did that surprise you or not surprise you, or you know, do you realise it needs that many people involved in to keep a company ticking over and stuff like that? Because most people, look, I mean, yes, the accountant doesn't work there full time, the developers don't work there full time, but he can't actually maintain the company going without all those people involved. So that's always quite surprising to me, you know. And even like having like a, you know, was it a secretary to the office?
Yeah, it was, they were kind of like, because he was downstairs and there was a bit upstairs and they were working up there, so he kind of brings them in where he needs them. Up there, but they're obviously not full time though. He's kind of the main person, and his wife does stuff as well, but I've never really seen it. So I don't know.
And it would have been nice to see your logo for the Emsworth meetup.
Well, yeah, I didn't think, because there's another presentation, like a final one, so I thought I would show that the last one I got right now.
Teasing us now, aren't you?
Well,
Jesus Christ. Cool, thank you.